Hey, Kansai Batser, how you doing? I'm trying to get my stuff set up here. I started a little bit early. Can you hear me okay? I started a little bit early today because usually when I start up right on time, right at 8 o'clock, it takes a little time to set up, and then people people have a hard time getting connected. Takes times for people to come in. Glad to see you here. I'm trying to get this. Oh, Kansai Boxer. Oh, we're back. Sure. Yeah. Thank you. Okay. I'm like I said, I'm trying to get the chat set up. This is my first time trying to do this on a Macintosh. I'll give it when we get some more people here, or maybe if nobody comes, I'll tell you all about it. Yeah, good to see you. Good to see you all the time. I got some Osaka stories here for you. Yeah, thanks. I had a really hard time these past couple of weeks. Might as well talk about it now, and then other people, when they come in, we could talk about it a little bit more. But I have this dream of setting up a live chat where I can, like talk to you on this regular screen here, and then click a button or click a on-screen button, and then my picture goes small in the corner, and then in the main screen there's the news article that I'm talking about. So I've seen other creators do this many a times, and so I've thought, man, I'd like to be able to do that. And I have spent hours upon hours upon hours trying to set that up with no luck, unfortunately. Maybe it's just beyond the scope of my limited abilities here. I don't know. But I tried using OBS. I don't know if you know that one, but OBS is this software that you can do a lot of this kind of stuff. But it's a very techie, geeky kind of software. It's free, and it's open source. So you got to know pretty much what you're doing if you're going to use it. And I could set it up where I could basically do what I wanted to do. But then when I tried to connect it to YouTube, I had a hard time connecting it. Spent a lot of time trying to learn how to connect. Then I finally was able to connect, but the image looked terrible. It looked horrible. I think it was a 720 image. So I went over to AI and I started asking, well, what's the best way to do that? And it started giving me advice. One of the things that I use for recording is something called Riverside. I don't actually use it for recording, but I use it to prepare the videos that I make. And Riverside is really cool because it automates many things like image enhancement and audio enhancement. So I really like the audio that's produced by Riverside. And I heard that Riverside also supports streaming. So I thought, well, I'm going to use Riverside for streaming. So I started up my Riverside last night and fired it up. And after work, and I was already pretty tired, but I thought, I'll do a test run. So I was able to connect to Riverside, but it didn't work very well. Oh, OBS I was doing on a laptop, on a Windows laptop. So AI said, well, maybe your laptop isn't powerful enough, and you need a imaging card and all this kind of stuff. But I've got a pretty powerful Mac Mini sitting on my desk that I wasn't really using that much. So it's got the M4 chip, which is pretty advanced. So this AI said, yeah, use your Mac because that chip should be able to handle anything. Then I found out, well, there are other things you got to do. I tried to do it on the Mac browser, and it says your browser doesn't support streaming. So I had to change the browser, and I did that. And then the image was funny, and Spent a long time. So finally I could get it working. I fired up Riverside, connected over to YouTube doing a test, looked at the image, and it looked horrible, 720p. So I went over to Riverside and I thought, well, I tried to find out what's going on. And it said at your tier, yeah, choose up time. Matter of fact, at your tier, membership tier, you're only capable of 720p streaming. If you want to do full 1080p streaming, you have to move up to the next tier, which means, of course, more money. And it's not that I'm a tightwad or anything like that, but as this stream doesn't really get that many people. I thought, I'm gonna just stream until, yeah, there you go. That's the code of the internet, isn't it? So I thought, yeah, okay. At the beginning, I thought I'll do this streaming and learn as I go and try to build an audience and stuff like that. And as you can see, the audience is Kansai Boxer. Thank you. And so I didn't promote this stream very enthusiastically this week because I was busy trying to get it to work. So finally, I decided, well, I'm going to give up on trying to use OBS and I'm going to give up trying to use Riverside. And so what I'm doing is what I've been doing for the past episodes, and that is streaming straight into YouTube. And because that's very basic and very easy, but it doesn't allow me to do that picture in the corner where I just display the article and go from there. So I put in a lot of time trying to get this to work, and I just can't do it. So it's been hard, and the time that I spent trying to get this stream thing going is time that's taking me away from video creation and things like that. So what I think I'm going to do, and you'll be the first and the only one to know at this time, I'm going to stop doing the weekly regularly scheduled live stream because it takes time to prepare for it and get ready for it and get it set up and things like that. And as we see, there's not that many people interested in joining us. And when the live stream is put up after the stream is finished, when it's put up as a regular video, it only gets about 120 or 130 views, which is not very much in the overall scheme of things. So what I plan to do, like I said, I'm going to stop doing a regularly scheduled every Saturday stream. But whenever a video, and one video is one topic, so anytime a topic takes off, gets a considerable number of views, I'll do a special stream on that topic only. And yeah, stick with the core product. Exactly. I like, to tell you the truth, I enjoy making videos, and I enjoy making the thumbnails for the videos. So I think I'm going to go back to concentrating on that. And like I said, if there's some topic like we did the immigration and the visa topic before, and that blew up 20,000 views. I won't wait for a 20,000 view video, but if a video gets 8,000-9,000 views, yeah, I'll do a special live stream about it, and we can get together and talk about the topic, and we'll just do that for a while to see what happens. I thought, like a lot of things on a computer, I thought, well, you get the software, or you get this, you subscribe to some service online and pay your money and plug it in and click a button and everything goes smoothly and easily. And I found out really quick, not with live streaming. Live streaming is very, very rough and tough type of business to get into. Yeah, it's like marketing research. Yeah. Well, I think I'm getting a pretty good handle on the video stuff, but this, like I said, this live stream is really, really hard to get together. But I did prepare a couple of stories. Let's talk about them, okay? All right. Where shall we start? Did you hear about the Osaka ramen shop that charges gaijins twice as much as it charges Japanese people? Oh, we've got. It says we've got three people. Let me see who's here. I'm just looking at chat right now. Participants. Okay, Kansai Boxer and Carlint and RB9522. Sound like a robot. Sound like a Star Wars robot. Hi, Carlint. Carlint 39. Good evening, RB9522. Yeah, I'm here. Okay, thanks for coming. I was just explaining to Kansai Boxer. I don't know how much you heard, but because of the trouble it takes to put out a live stream like this, and it's technical problems. Right now, I'm streaming straight into YouTube because it's very direct and easy. But I was trying to use different kinds of platforms and software because my dream is to display articles as I talk about them and put yeah, it's cold, and put my face in the corner as I talk about them. I thought, yeah, that would be cool. Tim Pool does it, and Osmond Gold does it. They display something as they're talking about them with their face in the corner. I really wanted to do that, but I found out, man, is that hard to do. I've been going crazy, just burning time. I say I was like chasing a rainbow, and I'm using AI as a guide. Poor man's kotatsu. Yeah, and I've got a blanket, and I've got a foot heat pad underneath my feet, underneath my desk. So, and I've got a gas heater behind me, and it's necessary these days, huh? Man, is it cold. But anyway, like I was saying, I've had that dream to. Oh, you got it under your butt. That's a good place for it, isn't it? Always keep your butt warm, right? But as I said, I've been trying technically to get this done, and I just haven't been able to do it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to discontinue the weekly, regularly scheduled podcast. I thought I would force myself to do it every week, and things would become easier and easier and more automatic and better. But unfortunately, it didn't work out. It hasn't worked out that way. I've been running into all kinds of technical problems. I'm running both a Windows machine and a Mac machine, and I thought, just move this file over there and that file. My goodness, I always thought that. You heard me mention that focused live streams. So instead of just getting on and trying to find topics to talk about, I'll just wait until something takes off on a video, and like I said, 900 views or 1,000 views or something like that, and then do a live stream about that topic. That makes I think that will make a more interesting live streams too. Okay. Pip Bob 7880. Hi, thank you for your participation in the comments and things like that. Really appreciate it. We've got some pretty good discussions. Yeah. Okay, high tech blanket, right? We all got a blanket on. Everybody in the Kanto area, Kansai Boxer must be in Kansai. Everybody else, where are you people at? Is it cold out where you are? Okinawa. Well, I guess it's not too cold out there, huh? Oh, Pip Bob, you're also in Kansai. Okay. Okinawa. My friend went to Okinawa recently, and I asked, "Is it warm down there?" And they said, "Not, not really warm, but it's not as cold. It's not as, of course, it's better than Tokyo." Current hot topics, possible upcoming snap elections. Yeah, who knows what's going to happen to that? I'm from around Tokyo. Felt windy. Okay, says 14 degrees C today. Yeah, today was nice. I went out for a walk, and it was really nice. Yesterday was a whole nother story. I work at the university. I was working at a university yesterday, and there was this big room that we're all in. And during the morning, it felt like we were in a meat locker. It was cold. It was very uncomfortable. Then I went to eat lunch and came back, and it was started to get really warm, which made everybody really sleepy. So Tokyo weather's been a little bit weird. Super windy. Okay. Yeah, from around Tokyo. Okay. Super windy. Yeah, this Tokyo actually, I guess, it felt cold the past couple of days, but I think compared to the way it was in the past, I think it's a little bit warmer. Okay, since we're here, I did prepare some news topics. Let's talk about them if you don't mind. Oh, we got another participant come in. Who is that? Let me take a close look. This is live chat. My interface is a little bit different because okay, that's the same. All right. My live chat, my interface is a little bit different because I switched over to my Mac, like I said, and so it's a little bit. How do we get? Okay, a little bit hard. Sorry if I'm babbling while I'm doing this, but you grab the mouse and you're trying to talk and trying to look at the same time. You go crazy after a while. The first news item that I saw was a real interesting one because it has something to do with what we were talking about, the gaijin sentiment and things like that, and over tourism and okay, not that. Oh, okay, sound and video are crystal clearly. Okay, that's good to hear. Well, like I said, I'm on my Mac today. Until now, I have only streamed on my Windows laptop, and then for some reason it didn't dawn on me, but I've got this powerful Mac Mini with an M4 chips, M4 silicon, I guess they call it, on my desk. And AI finally said, "Hey, you got a really powerful computer on your desk. You should use that." And that's what I'm using today. I'm on the Mac, but like I said, the interface is a little bit different, so I'm still getting used to it. There is a ramen shop, and it's in Osaka. You guys are in Osaka. I don't know if you ever heard of this place. Let me see if I can find the name. Gadoya. They said that the name of the place is Gadoya, and that this place has two menus. One is in Japanese with all kanji and stuff like that, and the other one's in English. So the sounds like a good service, for the English customers. You have an English menu, and for the Japanese customers, you have a nice Japanese menu. But they found out that the English menu for the gaijins was just about double the price of the Japanese menu in Japanese, and that so they were charging the gaijins virtually double of what they were charging the Nihonjins. And it says that that somebody approached the owner about this and says, "Hey, what's going on here?" And the owner says, "Well, the gaijin ramen is special. The Japanese will eat this certain kind of ramen, but for the gaijin ramen, we have to do something special." So they said that there's extra seasoning, and we have to, we need English support, and we have to sometimes explain in English. So this extra high pricing is worth it, or is reasonable. And evidently some Chinese guy complained about it, or complained. Or I read two reports. One report said he complained about the higher price. And another report that I saw said the Chinese guy complained, saying, "Oh, this isn't what I ordered," and got into a big argument, and the shop had to call the police, and the police came over, and it was a big brouhaha. So what do you think about this double pricing? I heard that a lot of people a lot of people, a lot of places are doing that. The two-tiered prices for gaijins and nihonjins. Some different, a variety of different castles here and there have two-tiered prices for entry fees. But, you know, I always used to think, oh, these Japanese, they're doing two-tier prices. Wow. Then I found out that in the United States, too, they implemented two-tier prices like in Yellowstone or something like that. And that the foreigners or non-Americans had to pay quite a bit of a higher price than Native Americans to enter. Yeah, I think it was Yellowstone or some other big national park. And they said that the difference, that the reason that they have the two-tier pricing is that Americans pay to maintain these parks with their regular taxes on an annual basis, and foreigners don't. They only pay to maintain the one time that they enter, so it's okay to charge them extra money. What do you guys think about that? I swear I don't understand why this is a botakuri scam. Yeah, some ways, yeah. One, you know, you read about it, you know, I wonder what if someone like I or you guys, some, you know, if you speak Japanese and things like that, but look like a gaijin, if we went in there and ordered ramen, or we went in there, what menu, if they gave us the English menu and we said, oh no, I'd like to have the Japanese menu, I wonder what they would do or what they would say. Japan Times Online lets you pay 3,000 yen a month or $30 a month. You can choose, but they don't ask your race. But it sounds like the ramen shop situation, but the product is the same. 3,000 yen a month or $30 a month. Yeah, that sounds like they're still on 100 yen to the dollar there, huh? So 3,000 yen a month now is $20. So, and it, some people are saying that the yen's going to go to 200 yen to the dollar. Wow. What do you think? I wonder if it'll go back to 360. That'd be interesting. Is the price business based on language, residence, or something else? Yeah, I don't know. I only know what I saw in the newspaper or in the news reports, I should say. Nobody reads a newspaper these days. But the news report was saying, like, it was suggesting that it was just, you know, a Japanese versus gaijin kind of thing. But and the what do you call it? The shop said, well, you know, it's because of the language barrier, and we have to have a special consideration when the person doesn't speak Japanese. And they said, you know, for foreigners, you know, we have to give special care so they understand about the ramen. But we never, and we had that guy we had to call the police on, the Chinese guy, we had to call the police on him, and we had all this trouble, and we never had such trouble with Japanese people. So, you know, he suggests this kind of language, but then he suggests this kind of race. So it's, you know, it's different people are saying different things. Of course, the store manager's trying to look cool when he was faced with this. But like I said, maybe we should try going there. Somebody should try going there and asking for the Japanese menu and see what they say. You know, looking like us. Excuse me, I'd like the Japanese menu because I speak Japanese, and see if they'll say, oh, okay, here are the cheaper prices. Or if they say, no, you got round eyes, so you got to pay a higher price. That would be an interesting experiment. Anybody want to volunteer? Ooh. Good evening, just arrived. Hey, Japan Ham, how you doing? Our ham radio operator. Okay, welcome. We were talking about the two-tiered ramen shop, two-tiered pricing. Carlin says for Himeji, I think, yeah, Himeji Castle, right? I think technically it's a visa status. Resident gaijins don't pay the higher price. Okay, there are other communist countries that have two-tier prices. Yeah, I imagine so. Yeah, I heard too. I watched this one guy. This one guy inspired me to start this channel. And I don't know if you guys ever watched him. He's called, his channel is called Old Dog New Tricks, Paul in Japan, Paul in the Philippines. And this is some old guy who moved to the Philippines and hooked up and married this relatively younger woman. And he does a regular YouTube report about his life in the Philippines, what he's doing there, how he's doing. And he gives advice about coming to the Philippines. And his channel blew up. He's got over 100,000 subscribers. And he likes to say that he started his channel just with a camera, with a iPhone. And he said, I didn't use any kind of fancy gear or anything like that. And I just talk into an iPhone, and this is what I built. So I watch him because I like to see how he made his channel. But I also find out about the Philippines. And he says that gaijin prices are a regular way of life in the Philippines. Well, he's living in, I think, Dumaguete, out in the hinterland there. Oh no, he wasn't saying that. Some other guy in the Philippines was saying that. And they were saying that, like in a taxi, the taxis will always charge you a higher price. And just about everything that you try to do, they say there is a gaijin price, that they'll charge you a gaijin a higher price, thinking that they've got more money. Okay. If this was a bar and they charge you different prices, that would be botakuri. Yeah, maybe it would be. Yeah, botakuri though. Botakuri is scary. I don't know if you watch any of the YouTube videos about these guys. You got some guys running around Kabukicho these days with a camera, trying to expose these botakuri and these gaijin. I don't know what they call them. They keep calling them touts in the English press. They look like pimps to me, but I think that I don't know if they're pimps, but I think they're trying to get customers to come into botakuri bars. And what happens is you go into this bar and they say, yeah, it's 3,000 yen and all you can drink for an hour and a half. And you go in there and then you get ready to leave and they say, okay, 50,000 yen each. And so it's definitely botakuri. And then so you got, like I said, they've got some guys going down there with their pocket cams and their telephones and taking videos, and some of these guys come out and start chasing them and yelling at them. It's quite a thing to see that happening in Japan. Gaijis need to learn more about Japanese law. Yeah, I'm going to be talking later in the week. In fact, I've got my notes right in front of me here, and I talked about it in last week's live stream a little bit about the welfare, how welfare is paid in Japan, and that's not just gaijins, that's everybody. And it's I saw this stuff going on in Minnesota in the United States. They're talking now about 500 billion yen. I don't know if that's just in Minnesota, but across the country, they're talking about billions and billions of dollars being scammed by immigrants. And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, wow, is it that easy to get money in the United States from the government if you're an immigrant? And then I started thinking, why doesn't that happen in Japan? And then I started thinking, could that happen in Japan? And then I started looking into Japanese welfare payments and the way they're handled in Japan. And it's a nightmare. Like I said, that's a video coming up. I may record it this evening, so look out for that. Japanese welfare laws and the welfare department, man, they are draconian, to say the least. Really interesting stuff. And there are other laws, like if you're arrested, they can keep you for 72 hours without filing charges. I think it's 72 hours, or maybe even longer, but they can keep you for quite a while without filing charges. And they can keep accusing you of different crimes and extending that longer and longer. And they can go to a judge and they say, we're still investigating, and they'll extend. And I know a guy who was arrested. He wasn't really a friend, but he was a friend of a friend. And he was arrested, and they threw him into detention, I guess we'll call it. And no telephone call, no lawyer, no contact with his wife, no contact with his employers. They just threw him into the huzgao and locked the door, and nobody knew what happened to him for a long, long time, and subjected to very tough grilling and things like that. So you got to be careful about the law here. Who else was here? 160 to 180 max, if that. Okay, we'll see what happens. Only time will tell. Like I said, some people are saying 200, but if people are saying 200, 160 to 180, maybe a pretty good guess. People tend to get carried away when they're making predictions, right? Okay. So the Osaka. Anybody want to chime in on this? You think it's good, bad? No. Okay. We won't dwell upon it that long then. All right. Talking about again, we were always talking about immigration and things like that. Should people be allowed? And the guest workers and the working workers from other countries coming in and stuff like that, and how should it be controlled and how it should go from now. I found a really, really interesting stat online, and it says that currently, not in the future, but right now, 1 in 10 young adults in Japan, or Japanese young adults, are not 100% ethnic Japanese. So that means 1 out of 10 young adults in Japan right now are either half, or they are not Japanese at all, and maybe naturalized or something like that. So it looks like the population is changing, and I wonder what that's going to happen, what that's going to cause in the near future. It seems like society is changing faster than the law can keep up with it. So as the new, more and more people come in, I wonder what's going to happen. I mean, everybody wonders what's going to happen, but will Japan change very much? And while these people come in, Japan still seems to be shrinking. Jakarta in Indonesia is said now, and this is according to the United Nations, so take that with as many grains of salt as you think is necessary, but they say that Tokyo is no longer the number 1 biggest city in the world. That place is now being held by Jakarta in Indonesia. Number 2 is Dhaka in Bangladesh, and Japan has dropped to number 3. Can you believe that? They say that Jakarta has 42 million people, and Tokyo at number 3 has 33 million people. It seems like Tokyo is aging and shrinking, while Jakarta is relatively younger and growing. And they said that Tokyo held the number 1 spot for 25 years, but not any longer. And I wonder about this. Tokyo population is shrinking. Japan's population in general is shrinking, despite the fact that they're bringing people in. And I read another article that said this year, or was it last year? This year, I think they were predicting that the number of new condominiums brought to the market in downtown Tokyo will be up. There will be 2% to 3% more condominiums on the new condominiums on the market in Tokyo this year. And that out in Western Tokyo, in the Hachioji area, it's something like 20% or 30% growth in new condominiums hitting the market. That's amazing? That's a lot of condominiums, a lot of living space hitting the market out in Western Japan. And the population is shrinking. So why does it still cost so much money to buy a condominium in the Tokyo area, including Hachioji? I would think that if the population is shrinking and the availability of condominiums is increasing, that the price should be coming down a bit, wouldn't you think? So but that's me. I mean, I'm the pretty basic in my economic knowledge of supply and demand. So I was thinking if there's more supply and less demand, the price should go down. But what the heck do I know? Does anybody know? Anybody want to chime in on this? No? Okay. All right. Let's move on. I got a really, really sad, gross story. I think this is from Osaka too. But the story itself is really horrible. But what struck me about this story, and it's kind of like it's kind of a sensationalist story, because it's so dark and gross. But what struck me was what the guy said when he was arrested by the police, and it's just so ridiculous. Some guy was living with his mother. The guy is 65 years old. His mother is 88 years old. And he got into some kind of argument, or I think he was quoted as saying, "Oh, I just wanted her to shut up." So, evidently trying to make his mother be quiet, he punched her with a closed fist a number of times in the face. And evidently that happened in the evening. And then when he got up in the morning about 6:30 a.m., mother was laying there dead. She had passed away. So he called the ambulance, and they came in and they noticed the bruising on her face. And so they contacted the police, and the police came out and grabbed this guy, and they asked him about it. And he said, are you ready? This is a quote. "It's true that I hit her in the face with my fist, but I didn't injure her." And that was the extent of the article that I read. I thought that it cracks me up many times when somebody is arrested by the police. What they say in Japan, it seems like they always come up with these really funny, strange. I'm not going to say excuses, but they say these pretty strange things about when they're captured. Some guys will, when they go on a stabbing spree or something like that, the police will catch them and they'll say, "Well, I just wanted to kill somebody, and it didn't matter who." Or the old, "Oh, I was drunk and I don't remember anything," and I guess that's a defense. Or we've talked about before. "Oh, I've got a lot of work stress, so I grabbed this girl," or something like that. All kinds of weird stuff like that. All right, I got one more. Did you hear the story about the two guys? They were hanging out together. They were seen talking with each other, and they sat down and had a shogi match. Shogi is Japanese chess. They're playing shogi together, and they got in an argument about something. It might have been about the shogi, might have been about something else. Got into an argument. One of the guys was pretty drunk, and then all of a sudden he starts beating on the other guy. And I guess they were fighting a bit, but it turned into a one-sided thing. And the guy that was drinking was really wailing on this other guy. They said beating on him for about 10 minutes, kicking him, hitting him. So the guy that was being beaten was still conscious at the end, but 3 days later he fell unconscious, and then he took him into the hospital, and 3 weeks later he was dead. And the hospital said it was because of organ failure, and he had brain damage and all this kind of stuff, evidently, allegedly, from this beating. So he was arrested, and you would think he would be arrested on murder charges, or what do they call it, felonious assault or something like that. But the police arrested this guy based on a 137-year-old law in Japan. And the law is the anti-dueling law. And this was passed in Japan in 1889. And if you know your Japanese history, 1889 was in the days of the Meiji Restoration. and they were kind of making the switch from the feudal samurai society into a modern society. So they passed this anti-dueling law to keep samurai from facing off with each other and chopping each other's heads off. And this law makes it illegal to challenge or accept a duel. So, like I said, they instead of arresting the killer on murder charges, they arrested him for dueling. So that's all I know about this one. If you know, I think all of you know, if you're living here, that Japanese news about criminal cases is very, very spotty, especially after the fact. You read about something really horrible in the newspaper, and then it disappears, and you never hear anything again. There are two cases that I try to follow to this day that it's so hard to find out any information that I strongly suspect that they have or they are thinking of letting the people off due to mental instability. One is the Bishop murder case. Are you guys familiar with that? A couple of years ago, right around New Year's, Christmas time, there was a family in, I forgot exactly where they were. Was it in Kanagawa or something like that? They were living out there, and they were the Bishop family. There was a American guy, Japanese wife, and the daughter was home from college for the holidays. And they were just going about their business, and this guy came in and with a knife and killed them all. I think the mother or the daughter was found in the garden. He chased her down and murdered her. So all three of these people were killed. I mean, it was horrible crime and big news here. And it turned out that the guy who killed them was one of their neighbors, maybe two doors down kind of neighbor. And he was one of these really weird guys. And evidently this guy the murderer, or the alleged murderer, I guess I have to say, got it into his head that the Bishop family had it out for him. And he thought that they were causing trouble for him. And he thought, well, I got to get my revenge. There was something going on where the Bishop's car was scratched or damaged. Somebody had come at night and scratched it or damaged it or thrown rocks at it or something like that. And they reported it to the police, but they didn't accuse this guy because they didn't know who did it. It was kind of like some random violence in the middle of the night. But this guy was convinced, these people told of course the police came around and asked questions, but this guy was convinced that the Bishop family accused him. And for his revenge, he came and murdered them all. And like I said, it was big news, and I haven't heard a word about the outcome of his court case. Of course, he was arrested, but there's been no news at all about whatever happened to him. And I've looked for news, and it always comes up to a dead end. The other one is the case of Runa Tamura. Are you guys familiar with Runa Tamura? She's that young lady in Sapporo who had some trouble with, it's a big, long, involved story that I won't go into here. And what she ended up doing, there was some guy that she was, that did do her dirty. He did definitely do her dirty. And to get her revenge, she said, she gave the guy the old come on. And she said, yeah, come on. Well, let's go out tonight. And then after we go out for a while, we'll go over to the local hotel. And they did. And they went to the local hotel. And she said, yeah, let's do something exciting. Let's do a little S&M. And so she put a gag in his mouth or a blindfold or something, and handcuffed his hands behind his back. And they were in the bathroom, and he was bent over the bathtub. And she pulled out a knife and stuck it into his neck and killed him. And I guess that's revenge enough, but not for old Runa, because allegedly she cut his head off. She decapitated the guy and then put his head into a bag and took the bag home as a souvenir. And she even had video footage of herself playing with the head, touching it, and allegedly her mother was the one who took the video. And allegedly, I got to keep using that word, I don't want to get into trouble, her father picked her up from the hotel after she had done the duty, done the deed, done the dirty deed, and drove her back home. And he was aware of it. And I believe, don't quote me on this, but I believe both the father and mother got suspended sentences. And her case has been pending for a long time. The last I checked, no news about the outcome of her case. I know that she was being subjected to psychiatric testing at one point, but whatever's going to happen to old Runa, she's like 28 years old, not a bad looking young lady, but she got her revenge on this guy that did her dirty. If you want, I'll do a full story, a full report on this. What do you think? Should I do a video on it? Anybody want to pipe in? No? Everybody's so quiet. Okay, I'll go on. If you've got am I missing anything? Let me make sure I'm not looking at the wrong screen. Let me make sure. Okay. Oh, okay. There you go. Oh, maybe what I was doing, I didn't. This screen is so screwed up. You've been commenting lots, and I've been chatting away, thinking nobody's chatting back at me. The last one I saw was 160 to 180 end of the dollar max, and now I've scrolled down and I saw all these comments. So let me deal with those. All right. So, Carlin, the same situation for university and tuition in the States, in-state and out-of-state. Out of country pay 3 times in some cases, but in Japan, national universities didn't charge more for foreigners. There you go. The key is at least didn't. They changed the law recently. They allowed Japanese universities to raise their tuition, and a lot of Japanese universities are raising both tuition and dormitory lodging fees for foreign students. Some of them are doubling their, it's a lot. Tsukuba University just announced their changes, so it's becoming common in Japan as well. University charges. I see way too many gaijin accept racism because it's normal nowadays. Yeah, what do you mean? Racism in Japan? Oh yeah, you must be talking about that. Yeah, it is normal. Yeah, and as far as gaijins accepting it, yeah, it's been like that for a long time. There were 2 camps. One camp saying gaijins are, Japanese are racist, and there's another camp that says no, they're not. It's just their culture. They're just shy. So which one is it? Well, I don't know. I'm not going to get into that one, right? Did the ramen shop explain to the Chinese guy in Chinese? I don't know. I highly doubt it, but I don't know. Okay. P. Bob says he's going to go check it out, please, and ask for a Japanese menu. Let's see what happens. Kelvin, I hope you're still here. Good morning. The new theme park in Okinawa, Junglia, has lower prices for local residents. Quite a few hotels do too. It's actually a discount. Oh, a discount I see. Not that foreigners are paying a premium. It's just that locals have a discount. Okay. Local meaning Okinawa people? Well, that might be cool, because having a theme park does put a little bit of a strain on local residents, doesn't it? Do we have to show our residency cards to prove our status? There's a good question. I don't know. Hawaii had a kama aina rates for Hawaiian locals. I discounted locals. It didn't feel immoral when I heard about it. Just a perk break for locals who wouldn't otherwise be priced out. Okay, yeah, yeah. Like I just said about Okinawa too. You know, some certain things put a strain on the local economy, so giving them a perk might be okay. Enjoying their own state. Oh, probably started to enjoy the. Okay, good. They have to be transparent in showing prices. The customer must be allowed to know all the different prices. Otherwise, there you go. That's a good point. You know, if they want to charge the different rates, they ought to just say so, and then the customer can decide. Back when I first got here, there were a lot of places, especially drinking places, that had signs on the door, Japanese only. Or you would go in and try to go in the door, and they said, sumimasen, Japanese only. And to tell you the truth, we didn't make a big deal out of it. We just said, yeah, okay, and moved on. Okay, Carlin, you talked about welfare last week. Yes, sounds like really hard to get. You have to prove you have nothing with lots of paperwork. Yeah. Welfare, that's it. You know, that's going to be the gist of the report, but with, of course, much more detail than I mentioned last week. But yeah, well, here welfare is not meant to help you maintain your standard of living, but rather to avoid becoming totally destitute. And that doesn't work all the time for reasons I'll go into when I make the main video. Japan Ham, if you watch Old Dog in the Philippines, you will occasionally see a guy named Bud Brown, also in demo. Oh, Bud's your cousin? No kidding. Yeah, I know more. I know so many people in Dumaguete from watching Old Dog. You know, I watch him about once a week. You know, his delivery is so laid back and, you know, meandering along. So I like that conversational approach that he has. Okay, Bud, what's it? Bud Brown. I'm going to make a note of that. I'll keep an eye out for him. Okay. And 100 Japanese welfare laws are insane. Yeah, no kidding. I thought it was 23 days. Okay, excuse me. Yeah, 72 hours might be America. 23 days. You are correct per charge. So they can add one more charge for holding without parole. Hostage justice. No, yes. Carlin, you are completely correct. My memory was out of whack there. 23 days. Yeah, I knew it was much longer, even as I was saying it. Now, 72 hours doesn't sound that long. Yeah. So like you said, 23 days, tack something on 23 more days, keep tacking on charges. Or like I said, they can go to a judge and say, we need to keep this person longer, and they'll extend it. And they say that the judge rarely says no in Japan. Thanks for keeping me straight on that. And Peeba, I love these old stories because I know the laws, but I don't know real life cases, especially if it's in the past. Love these stories. Well, thank you. Yeah, in the past, I'll tell you what, it was man, oh man, like they used to say, man, oh Shevitz. It was really wild. And I hate to wax too nostalgic here, but I can remember going into immigration when I was getting my visa, my teaching English visa. I had to renew every 6 months. Now we saw that one report that I did on that guy, that guy who sued the Japanese government and all that, and when the Japanese Supreme Court finally decided gaijins don't have any rights. But they said that he had a 1-year visa, so I don't know what that was about. But I was down in Fukuoka, and every 6 months we had to go and submit all of our paperwork. You know, a stack of paperwork like this from zero every 6 months, and we would go into the immigration office scared because you'd walk in and this dude would be sitting there like this. You know, like a yakuza saying, Nandayo kisama. Yeah, they wouldn't say that, but that was their attitude. And you'd go in there, and if something was out of whack or not proper, it was, get out of here and come back when you got it. And so it was really, really something. And if you did that long enough, they gave you a year visa, and we thought a year was like heaven. But things are a lot easier than they were back then. The police too. Okay, I'll tell you one. The difference of the way it was back in Fukuoka long ago. I was sending a box to the United States, and we went to the post office, and we had the box ready, and there was something wrong with how it was addressed or something like that. And we're at the counter, and there's a line of people behind us, and the person behind the counter says, "No, you gotta write the address this way." And we said, "Oh, okay," but we didn't have a pen. We didn't have something to write with. And so my wife says to this guy, "Oh, sorry, can I have a pen?" And the guy looked at her and went, huh, it's like, what do you think I am? A stationery shop? And we had to get out of line and find a place where they sell pens and buy a pen and write it and get back in line to send the package. They were really, really a bunch of hard cases back then. I wanted to say another word, begins with a P, but I won't say it. Okay, foreign investment in real estate is a big contributor in Japan, too, especially downtown. Yeah, yeah. But they say they may be clamping down now. They say that the foreigners have to declare that they're foreigners when they buy. I won't get into that. Okay, listening and cooking at the same time. Yeah, that's good. I like to do that too. I like to listen to YouTube. Not so much when I'm cooking, but like if I got dishes to wash, I like to put my iPad there and have it playing while I'm washing dishes. Okay. Japan Ham, guiding the prices of the condominiums so high in Tokyo because of the Chinese buying them as fast as they are built. Yeah, maybe so. I've heard that from many different sources, and I'm trying to move something here and get this off, but I can't. Okay, yeah, I've heard that from various different sources that it's the Chinese buying, and I hope that they find a way to deal with that. It seems like Takaichi is trying to get a handle on it, but I don't know if she will be able to. But yeah, it's the same. I think it's the same in the United States too, except in the United States, it's not the Chinese, it's corporations buying up houses and then renting them out, which I guess they may be able to counteract with this, I guess, this new executive order that says companies can't buy single family dwellings anymore or something. But I don't know if they'll be able to enforce that. Japan Ham says Hachioji is further out, but still convenient, and costs are lower than downtown Tokyo. Yeah. You can take a single train out of Hachioji straight into Shinjuku. And if you catch one of the express trains, it's not that very far at all. But it is quite a ways. And Hachioji itself is a pretty big metropolitan area. So we'll see. Like I said, I think it should be cheaper. And it is lower than downtown Tokyo. Absolutely. Downtown Tokyo is crazy. So, yeah. Okay. I'm seriously confused. How are any combat sports legal given this dueling law? That's a good question, isn't it? Anti-dueling. Yeah. If they have an anti-dueling law, they have boxing, right? They have kendo. Who knows? Maybe it's one of those Japanese things, right? From the way you presented the story, it doesn't sound like dueling of any kind, right? To me, neither. I wonder if that makes it easier or harder to convince compared with murder or manslaughter. It seems like there should be a more appropriate law. You would think, wouldn't you, You would think that there would be a better law than one that was written in 1889. You think that murder would be bad enough, murder or manslaughter. There you go. Manslaughter is probably what it would be in the U.S. But yeah, okay. I remember the first case. Oh, about the bishops. Yeah, that was pretty shocking, wasn't it? It was right around Christmas, and going into New Year's, and that's a real peaceful and quiet and family time, and all of a sudden, blam! There's that news coming up, and then that just disappeared from the national consciousness. Okay, there we go. I've got this menu on my screen that keeps getting in the way. All right. I think it's a legal loop for special Japanese people to get special treatment. Okay. Oh, what are you talking about? What are you talking about there? The legal loop. Let me see. Okay. All right. I just scrolled down and then okay. All right. There's this guy that got away with murder. Okay, because he thought he was killing zombies. Oh, all right, you're talking about the murder stuff. This stuff about, I was drunk and I don't remember anything. Or, yeah, I shot him 15 times, but I didn't intend to kill him. This intent is a big thing here in Japan. And, I punched her in the face 5 times, but I didn't injure her. So, yeah, I think it's a loophole. I think it's one of these things, like you see these people in the States getting arrested for shoplifting or something. And as soon as they're thrown into a police car, they start saying, I can't breathe, because they were told that this is a special magic talisman that will help them, or I'm pregnant, okay, well, I guess we'll let you go then, but anyway. Okay, not that interested in Runa, Runa, Luna, but I'm not sure if you're not seeing the messages. You haven't responded to anything. Yeah, Carlin, you're correct. I think I explained that already. Sorry about that. Yes, I'm washing dishes. Okay. Wow, one's cooking, one's washing dishes. It's really interesting. I think I paid 30,000 yen or so for a nice dorm at a university in Tokyo, including utilities. Even if they doubled that is insanely cheap. Yeah, it is cheap, isn't it? Yeah, I was looking at something, and they said, yeah, we're going to raise the prices to 580,000 yen per year or per semester, which I thought, wow, 580. But then you start thinking about, you look at it, and it included room and cleaning and Wi-Fi and maybe even meals or something. So it wasn't that expensive at all. Okay, Kevin, you're still here. Good. I'm glad to see you, right? Yes, gaijins think Japanese are some kind of saints. I used to run. All right, I'll let you know this news. I don't know if maybe some of you guys used to read my blog. I used to have a blog that was pretty popular about Japan, kind of like GAIJIN50 plus. And I started it in the early 2000s when blogging was really, really big. And that was my whole purpose of starting the blog, because at that time there were other Japan-centric blogs, but everybody was doing, Japan, the land of temples and tea and cute children, and nobody ever does anything. Everybody's always so happy. And I said, what a bunch of baloney. I'm going to show Japan the way Japan really is, and not in a negative light. I was just going to report on what it's like living in Japan without trying to make Japan look like Disneyland. Now, I'll tell you the name of the blog, and let me know if you've ever heard of it. The name of the blog was Japundit, Japundit. And we had a lot of fun there. At its peak, we were getting quite a few visitors, like 5,000 accesses per day, which, on the scale of the overall World Wide Web is nothing. But it was, to me, it was, wow. I thought it was wonderful, and we had a lot of fun there. A lot of fun. We had a couple of articles that went absolutely viral. I had a team of writers helping me out, but it just got to be too much because I was working full time and I was doing Japundit. So I would quit work, 6, 7 o'clock at night and come home and put in another 8 hours doing Japundit stuff. And my wife used to really give me a hard time, right? Japanese are humans. There are good people and horrible people. Sounds like me. I used to say on Japundit, and I used to have the Japundit podcast too. I used to say, Japan is a place. And like any other place, there are geniuses, there are idiots, there are people who are fantastically polite, as you hear of. There are people who are bone-jarringly impolite. There are jerks. There are, you can go through the whole litany of human positives and negatives, and they all apply to Japan. And anybody who thinks different is mistaken. Okay, putting it nicely. Okay, Kylan, in Japan, especially in government offices, paperwork is king. Still, yeah. Until recently, in the Japanese government, you had to submit certain documents to get approval of something using a floppy disk or by fax paperwork. You weren't allowed to submit applications or backup documents digitally. It was against the law. They're trying to change that. They have a minister of digitization or something like that. They're trying hard to change it, but as they say, old habits die hard. We still have a lot of things going on. I think I might have mentioned about my number card. I think I mentioned it last week, where they sent me a postcard, and I went and I said, "Give me my 9 number card." And they gave me a piece of paper and said, "Write your name and address." You just sent me a postcard. Well, anyway, sellers will be sad to hear that foreigners who may have more funds can't buy their properties. Buyers will be pleased, of course. Yeah, people who own property love that the price of their value of their property goes up. And so if they start controlling who can buy and who it's available to, those owning property will not like it very much at all. So, there's always that kind of struggle. That's what politics is all about, right? So I heard one guy say that when, Jordan Peterson, somebody was talking to him one time, and he said something that really stuck with me over the years. And they said, well, you won't be happy until the left is utterly destroyed, right? Or until Democrats are utterly destroyed. Not that Jordan Peterson is that much of a right winger, even though he has that kind of he has that kind of reputation. But he said, no, absolutely not. He said, if either party becomes a one party, he says it's horrible, because in the past you had the Democrats supporting the working man, and you had the Republicans supporting Wall Street and the banking interests, and they would fight against each other and struggle. And it was from this struggle that good things were able to bubble out of it. But if everybody is if all the politicians are of one party and of one mind, then it would be horrible. It would become a dictatorship. And I believe that too. I believe that myself. I don't know why I went off on something like that, but okay. Conspiracy theory. Ha ha. Remember that blog? Thank you. Oh, Kelvin Mitchell. Oh, you do. I'm happy to hear that. Yeah, that was my blog. I was JP, it was a lot of fun. I remember that era very fondly. Okay. I didn't know the blog, but I can independently confirm do a Google on Japundit, Japundit, and you'll see it. It may even be covered by AI. Okay. Good evening, Rumpelstiltskin. I always remember your name, Rumpelstiltskin. Okay. How are you today? Okay. Have you thought of having a sidekick on your channel, such as the Coffee Clutch with Robert Wright? You know, there you go. I wouldn't mind a sidekick. In fact, I wouldn't mind any of you who would want to volunteer to come on here with me and do a live stream together anytime. Drop me a line, give me a call, uh, and I'll be happy to set it up. Like I said, I'm using Riverside, and Riverside allows for multiple participant live streaming. Now, as I said at the beginning, some of you weren't here. I was trying so hard to set something up with Riverside, and it didn't work. I got it set up, and then I found out in my current membership tier, it'll only stream up to 720p, and it looked horrible. It looked fuzzy. It looked white, too pasty and stuff like that. So I gave up and I went back. I'm streaming directly into YouTube, which is so much easier. You just click and go. So if somebody would like to volunteer to come on with me, or a different person every time, I will come up with the funds to raise my tier in Riverside, and we can do a discussion about. I think that would be much more interesting than just me sitting around yakking like I do on my videos anyway. So yeah, I would do that. I would be thrilled to do something like. I would be thrilled to do the same guest every week, different guests every day, more than one guest every week. Yeah, I'd be happy to do that. If anybody's interested, send me your resume. Just joking. You don't have to send me your resume. Anybody want to just pick up your hand and let's do it? Okay. My wife is angry. I'm listening to this more than I'm paying attention to her. Ha ha. Yeah. The story of my life. Yeah. Did you ever hear Bill Burr go off on about his wife and him watching football and stuff like that? That is really, really bad. He claims, guys are so simple, they can just concentrate on one thing, they can really get into it. He was talking about football, and he guys will be sitting there staring at the TV, "Hey, that's not holding," and the wife will be sitting there, and she'll be getting upset that he's more interested in this football game than he is in her. And he was saying, like why women can multitask, they can. He said they've got eyes like chameleons, that they're going out all over the place, but guys get into one thing. And so he said women want to destroy the only happiness that men have, which is watching big long routine, big long bit that he does that's worth watching. Even though Bill Burr is in a little bit of trouble now because he went to do that comedy gig in Saudi Arabia or something like that. So good luck, P. Bob. And Rumpelstiltskin says, "Well, thank you, sir. Well, you're very welcome. Like I said, how can I miss your name, right?" Carlin, I would be interested in. Okay, hey, okay. On my channel, underneath, there's a place where it has the information about the channel, and if you click more, and I don't know how far down you got to go, but you can find the channel email address there. And if you send me an email, and let's get together, let's talk about it, and let's do it. All right. Well, you could be negative. I'm pretty much positive, but we'll sort of play off of each other. Okay. Oh, P-Bob. Yeah, P-Bob, you're welcome anytime. I like the way you interact with our comments and stuff like that. I found you. Okay, please do send me. All right. Good. That sounds good. And like I said, anybody else, you don't have to, You don't have to put your hand up here. It's easy to find my email address and drop me a line. I just, don't. I have to remember to look at that email address because it's not my. Maybe I should set that up to forward to my regular email address. That's easier. Okay. All right. So yeah. So if we got somebody that we can do together, and maybe we can try that out. Maybe next week, maybe the week after that. Like I said at the beginning of this stream, I don't want to commit to doing a weekly stream because. But then again, today we had 9 people. Maybe I should keep this going. I will try, and then we can see about my schedule. Okay, please, right? Yeah, let's do it. And it doesn't have to be Saturday. It could be Sunday. We can move the schedule around. We can let everybody know. And like I said, everybody who's listening, I set up a mailing list where if you want a reminder sent to you shortly before a live stream starts, you can join a mailing list, and I send out a blurb to all mailing list members. I'll be live streaming from 8:00 tonight or something like that. So I'll put a link to that down in the show notes. And yeah. Oh, okay. YouTube sent you. Yeah. I heard that YouTube will send notifications, but then I heard sometimes they don't. And I didn't get mine. Yeah, actually, I didn't send it out today. I forgot. I told you at the beginning, those people who just arrived, I was trying to set up the live stream so I can display the article that I'm talking about with my pretty little face in the corner. But I spent hours and hours and hours and hours trying to set it up and couldn't do it. So I was pretty exhausted by the time 8:00 Saturday rolled around. When I saw this live stream in my YouTube feed, there was a button that said notify me, which I clicked. Okay. I heard that YouTube is pretty good about notifying people, but sometimes they don't. I didn't check my email. Okay. If you ring the bell and select all, then you will get a notification when the live stream is scheduled. Okay. Yeah. All right. Somebody told me too, the reason I set up the mailing list was somebody told me too that it's easy when they see something in their mail. They don't look at YouTube all the time, so they might miss some kind of notification. So, okay. So what do you think? All right, I'll leave it up to you guys. We've got 10 people here, which to me is pretty good live stream. I had a good time. I love your comments. They're great. What do you think? Should I do one next week or not? I'll leave it up to you guys. Anybody want to pipe in? Have a nice holiday. Yeah, we're going to have a nice holiday on Monday. In fact, I'll let you know to watch the channel, because usually I work 4 days a week at the university, but next week, because of the holiday and because of a university holiday, I only have 2 days of work. So I'm going to be jamming the channel, right? I've got some long form videos coming up and some short form, some shorts that are be coming up that I pull out of the long form. But look for some good content coming up. Like I said, I'll be doing the welfare system. There's one that I want to do about the great 300 million yen robbery way back in 1968, which is really a great story. Okay, you work at home, but don't tell me. Yeah, you live stream and somebody at your company starts looking at it, right? Hey, what's that guy doing? Hey, you got a pretty good gig there if you're working for a company and working at home. That's pretty cool, right? Okay, I said at the beginning, this is what a weakling I am. Yeah, 300 yen robbery, that's something, right? And it was 300 million back then, right? So maybe convert it into current yen. It's probably billions of yen. But been doing it for, oh, lucky you, lucky you. That's, yeah, from about COVID, huh? And they let you stay. Wow, lucky you. Okay. So I'm such a weakling. People saying, yeah, let's do it again next week. Okay, I'll give it another shot next week. And I'm not going to try to set it up to do all this fancy stuff until I have a talk with Carlint39 and see if we can set it up, and if we can get our schedules arranged, and we can come to some agreement. And if we agree to do one next Saturday, then I'll upgrade my platform, and let's do it. I just hope that when I upgrade the platform, it doesn't send me down more of these rabbit holes when trying to get it set up. But onward and upward always. GAIJIN50 plus. I just realized this is a new year. A couple more years, I may have to change the name of the channel. No, I'll never change the name of the channel, but the name of the channel will no longer be accurate. Okay. Retired and went to work for your wife and yourself. Good for you. Good for you. Okay. P-Bob, Japan Ham, everybody else, RB9522, Carlin, Kelvin, Rumpelstiltskin, all you folks, everybody else, anybody else I forgot. Thanks for coming up. Thanks for coming out. You really made my day. When we first started out, it was just me and Kansai Boxer, who suddenly became so quiet. I hope you're okay there, Kansai Boxer. But it was just him and me for quite a while. So I thought, oh, I didn't send the mail out, so nobody's coming. So yeah, maybe it's best if I don't try to do this every week. But seeing 10 of you people, dishes are done. Good for you. Seeing 10 of you people coming out really made my day. And I'll tell you what, I'll commit to one more week. Let's see what happens. And if you want me to quit, don't show up next week. I'll see if I can get the notifications sent out in time, and let's do it. Let's do it, huh? Yeah, happy wife, happy life. No kidding. All I got to do is figure out how to make my wife happy. Okay. All right. So that's it for today, and thank you very much, Kelvin. And I'm really happy to see you, Kelvin. I might have mentioned Kelvin's one of these guys. I've known him for so long, but we've never met. One day we will meet. So if you guys from work watch it, but usually the replays, as it's pretty early. Yeah, Saturday morning, really early in the morning there. I know he's out in Alabama. So, okay, everybody. Thanks a lot. We'll see you next time. And I'll try to set up a multi-guest or a multi-host thing for next week. Okay. Yes, in April or May, I'll catch up with you in person. I'm waiting, man. I'm waiting. Just let me know and I'll be here. Okay. Kansai Boxer. All right, everybody else, check your email. Okay, I sure will, Carlin. All right. Thank you. Good evening. Good night. Good morning. Good afternoon. Whatever. All right, I'm going to shut this off now. Thank you very much. Bye.